he told me just a good story. He said to move on and keep going. Imagine we had one more life, one more shot at sunrise. The rays let things start with new eyes. Heartbreak the same tragic goodbyes. Wanna dance
One, two, coming off the top, y'all know how we do. Listen, I'ma drop a freestyle you can cherish. I'ma send a shout out to the host named Eric. Yo, he's never on some average shit. You know Eric, he stays loud and passionate. I'm about to break it down for y'all with the clever song. Yo, shout the host named Thomas, cause he's never wrong. Yo, shout to John, you know that he's smart and quiet, unlike my freestyles, which cause a riot. I'm about to do it like this, cause the people love me. Shouts out to PHP the Ugly. It's called ugly cause it's not professional, but I'm about to come through and bless it with style. So let's do it when I'm spitting, I perfume the room. Yo, the segment of the show is called Doom and Gloom. That came from Thomas. Yeah, can nobody go beyond this? I get the mic and then I'm about to keep it like a promise. Yeah, and y'all know we fill them up with anguish. We talking about the PHP, the programming language. About to break it down, no exaggeration. What do y'all do for a living? Web applications. Okay, I can dig it. My words spray tight. They getting together on the Thursday nights. Yeah, when it comes to rhyming, you can call me the new dude. I spew true lyrics while y'all broadcast on YouTube. So let's get it. You know my lyrics are major. All up in the comments, they got plenty of haters, but they doing what they doing. Keep it ugly. We ending every show with the saying it's lovely. Let's go. Hey, shout out to y'all. Peace to the whole squad, man. Hope your channel is doing real well on YouTube. Hope you guys are having fun. And it was an honor and blessing to do this little custom freestyle for y'all. Hope you enjoy. Stay up. Yeah. Come on. Hey.
It's March 30th, 2023, a day that will go down in the history books. We have the start of the 2023 baseball season. We have an ex-president who's been indicted. And we have the 329th show of PHPUgly. 2 out of these 3 are going to be just monumental. You may be surprised to find out which one is. I'm Eric Van Johnson. This is our weekly podcast where me and a couple of my friends get together and we talk about PHP, the PHP community, and anything else that's going on in our world. I would say 3 developers, but I don't know if I can say that anymore. If you've been listening to the show, you know, one person has kind of wandered off, but it's okay. All 3 of us are here, so we still try to talk development when we can. This show's made a little bit better through some support. We have a sponsor, honeybadger.io, and we have supporters on Patreon, patreon.com/PHPUgly. We want to thank all of them, and we will talk about them a little later in the show. But for now, we record every Thursday night, 9 p.m. West Coast time here in the U.S., and you can be part of that live stream. All you have to do is pop into our Discord at discord.phpugly.com and chat it up with us. That Discord channel is something that runs all week long. We all hang out in there throughout the week. Some great conversations in there. So it's not just only during the live stream. You can make new friends there. But for now, let me get started off with some of my friends. John Condon.
I'm frustrated. You forgot one of our new sponsors. We'll talk about them in a minute.
I was going to let us build up to that.
I'm building up to it right now. I'm part of that.
And Tom right up.
Hello. Glad to be
Hello.
here. If you hear some ambient noise behind me, that's because I've got my server rack up and running. And
We told you it would be loud.
yeah, well, it's
yes,
not,
we can hear it.
It's not loud yet.
Oh, yes, it is.
Oh, yeah, it's loud already. I don't put
Very
any
loud.
more in there.
Well, it's more warm than loud, but you can't tell that from here.
We tried
Beads
telling you
of
that,
sweat
what, 3
on your
weeks ago?
forehead.
Gets a little toasty in here.
Welcome to server life.
Yeah, no kidding.
You mentioned the opening day, and our Padres are not doing so well right now.
They're already
We
down
have
by
a
2
whole
games.
SoCal opening day. I think the Dodgers, the Angels, and the Padres are all home for opening day, which I don't know how often that happens. And I'm not positive that. I would have to double check. But I know the Dodgers are, I know the Padres are, and I think the Angels might be as well. So yeah, lots of baseball. Lots of baseball. It's just getting started.
Which is why baseball is why we are starting late. We can say that too.
Yeah.
I got pulled into a mandatory managers meeting for minors B little league, and it was like I got to the end. I'm like, free beer or go podcast with my friends. Free beer, or go podcast with my friends. It was a tough call. I left
So
there.
that's why we're starting late.
I left there at 8:57. I didn't get my second free beer because I wanted to hang out with you guys. I could have just hung out. Yeah.
I mean, you can go back and get your beer if you want.
All right. See you.
So, some interesting rule changes in baseball. If you know, I'm a big baseball fan, so I really look forward to the baseball season. We have some clocks now on the pitcher and the batter and how long they can take to get ready. There's like this. There's a rule about
last year. Or
nope, this is the first year. It was in the minors last year. At least I think it's been minors for the last couple of years.
could have sworn there was a some sort of clock on the pitcher recently.
Yeah, and pitchers can only try to pick off a runner, I think twice or some weird thing like that. I don't know what that is. And what's cooler, I don't know if it's cooler or what, but the bases are physically larger now. That was moved. Yeah, they did that. They're hoping to help prevent some injuries.
Not insignificantly larger too. It's a pretty recognizable difference.
Yeah, but you think about how many outs were either made or missed by fractions of a second.
Yeah,
and that extra base might make that difference.
It's very interesting.
I did not know any of that stuff, surprisingly.
So, John, you called me out. You said I missed a sponsor. I'm not sure. I missed a sponsor. Who would I have missed?
I am sure you missed a sponsor because I have the information right here.
I thought you were going to say you were the sponsor.
That would be pretty weird.
This episode brought to you by John's sweet ass haircut.
No, we signed a deal with JetBrains, and PHP Storm is an official sponsor of not only PHP Tech, but of PHPUgly and the PHP podcast.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. In the magazine. You're going to see ads pop up in the magazine as well. So, I've always said I was a PHP Storms guy. Always.
Just going to go and delete this card real quick.
No, super excited to have him on board. I mean, we've touted PHP Storm for years as far as if you're a professional PHP developer, if you're making money from the PHP language, you should probably be using something like PHP Storm. Yes, the IDE does cost money, but there are a ton of features with it. And obviously we'll talk about it more later on, but the Vim bindings in it are really good. And that's what got me into using their IDE because, for a long time, all I used was Vim. So the fact that they have Vim bindings and the customizations in the IDE where you could not touch the mouse if you wanted to not do so is great. So love it. So happy to have him on board.
Exciting stuff. Exciting stuff.
For sure.
But
until then, Eric, I want to hear about your week.
Why are you doing this to me, John?
I lied. Tom, I want to hear about your week. Tom, how was your week? Because we always do us first, so I was trying to give you a chance. Jeez.
It has been an interesting week. I'm somewhat getting back into the Laravel game, if you can believe it.
What?
Yeah, we've got some components that have made their way, and so now there's quite a bit of Laravel discussion internally. It's very interesting. And
so when you say that, is it like spinning up microservices, or is it working it into your big application?
Yeah, it's a lot of replacing old monolithic stuff with more streamlined coding standards. You know, a lot of it has to do with the sort of MVC coding standards that Laravel really enforced with the directory structures and services and controllers. So getting a lot of functionality out of just the ideas that Laravel had, as well as implementing some of the tools that Laravel provides, you know, as part of Illuminate packages.
So are you pulling in just some of their packages, or are you pulling in the entire framework?
Right now, it's just bits and pieces. We're not pulling a full framework in from anywhere. We probably never, ever will. We're just not in a position to.
It can be hard. I mean, we've done presentations at SDPHP in the past on how to do so, how to work it into your legacy app. Mm-hmm. So it's not impossible. We've done it with one of our biggest clients where it's one of those weird things where it's like you either do a full rewrite or you start to migrate, and here we are years later still doing that migration where we still live in both worlds, and we probably will for many years, but we have the ability to use the framework when we want to, which is really nice.
Yeah. So a lot of work around that, a lot of work around payment processing with Apple Pay. It is a rough, unenjoyable process.
So in Discord, Buttery asked, whatever happened to Lumen? I'm pretty sure Lumen is just not being, like, I'm not sure. I don't think it's being iterated on anymore.
I believe that it is still up to date, or it's still generally being kept up to date. There is a 10x version. Yeah.
What?
There's a 10.x version of Lumen. One of the things about the development cycle for it is that it's a afterthought to Laravel, so it doesn't get the same attention until after the release of Laravel. It's usually a couple weeks after. But it is still being maintained. There's also stuff like Laravel 0. You know, there's the Laravel ecosystem has so many different micro frameworks of different types.
Yeah.
I have not heard of Laravel 0.
So Laravel 0 is a CLI thing. And I actually saw an interesting article today about a packager for Laravel 0, or for CLI apps in general, called Hollable. Did you guys see this at all?
No.
If you run macOS or Linux, you can have it build executables out of a PHP FAR that will execute in Windows, Linux, macOS, and both versions of macOS. So you can build it as like a .exe, and when they run it, they get a CLI program out of it. I thought that was very interesting.
That is. I mean, I use a FAR as executable, but it's on Linux, and it's just because I can start it up with PHP pretty easily.
Yeah. So if you have PHP installed, you can execute a FAR just like any other PHP file. But now with Hollable, you can execute it as standalone with no requirements.
kind of defeats the purpose of it being a scripting language, but
Oh, we're gonna catch flack for that language.
nah, actually, a far is
Scripting
not scripted anyway. Far is all brought down, right?
No, it's just a zip file.
Yeah. So I actually, one of the main applications I use for the magazine, I used to build into a FAR file, but I had the code locally, so I'd make changes, build it to the FAR, and then install it in the central location. I'm like, this is dumb because I'm iterating on it so often. I'm like, I'm just going to run the main thing. I don't need the FAR anymore.
Aside from that, my week has been much better since my cats have normalized to the new house. So
Have you normalized to the new house?
I have now. It's very nice. I'll actually be posting some pictures of the entertainment center setup and the server rack into our Discord channel.
I'm sorry, but your server rack is driving me crazy because it's covering part of your window.
Yes. It's not supposed to be in that orientation.
It wasn't last week. I was going to say something about that.
Yeah, so it's plugged in now, and the plug is too short. And I sent the wife out to get an appliance-grade extension cable, like 6-foot extension cable, and she came back with a garden-grade 3-plug cable that was not going to handle the required amperage from this thing. So
I'm still at a loss at why this is even a thing, but you do you, man.
I'll show you one. I'll show you one reason.
He needs heat in his room.
That's it, right?
In the summer, it's not going to be running. You realize that.
So I've got 3 of these bad boys.
3 boxes? I got boxes.
3 of these waiting to be installed into a server. And that should provide me
last week.
Good long time. Did I show you this?
He doesn't remember.
My 8 terabyte Exos drives.
Yeah.
That's why.
Why? Because you need 8 terabyte.
Yeah,
drive?
we talked about it last week, and as soon as I said, he's like, "Yeah, don't say that." So if you want to know, go back to last week's show and check it out near the end.
Yes, because my parents' Netflix account no longer works in my house.
John, how was your week?
My week's been pretty good. I actually posted in. It's weird with our Discord channels because now we kind of run 2 of them, and I feel bad cross-posting on them. But I got so excited because one of my bigger features as of late was around event sourcing, and it got merged in. And I think I started it probably November last year, and it's gone through all of these iterations. And when I started it, it was like, do we event source it? Do we not? And I pushed for that piece, and it just lingered on and just became this monstrous thing. And what was annoying was I got a good way into it, and then it was replacing something that already existed in the code base, and I had it working. I was ready for review, and then lo and behold, somebody else was working on something else in the old system. It's like, oh great, now I got to go incorporate that. And that happened 2 or 3 different times into it. And then January, February, the event happened with the client, and it kind of revolved around that, meaning half the code I wrote no longer worked. It was no longer necessary. I did all of this work for no reason. So when it was all said and done, the feature got released, but ended up removing way more lines than I actually wrote, which was very weird.
It's always nice when you're negative on your final code.
Usually, I mean, I really do like removing code. It's a fantastic feeling when you're expecting it to happen. When I went back and looked at the pull request and saw that, I was like, wait, that does... yeah, I guess that does make sense. So the fact that it's in the code base now, and the weird part was that pull request became a blocker for this massive amount of additional work to be done over the next 2-3 months. And we kept putting it off because we're like, well, we're waiting on this pull request. So to finally have it approved and merged was like a huge weight off my shoulders. And I'm excited about that. I keep touting the event sourcing drum, and I know Eric and I have talked about it quite a bit. And there's so many pros and cons to it, but at the end of the day, the pros to me outweigh the cons, and I really like the subject, and I have this desire to continue learning more about it.
Cool story, bro.
I don't know if it was, but all right, now you're weak.
I had a pretty good week coding. Although my team, who I enjoy working with very much, despite what I might post on Mastodon from time to time, brought to my attention today that I have to rethink my tests, because we finally have and this was the plan the whole time. I had just been procrastinating implementing it because we had so many other things going on. We have a requirement to have longitudes and latitudes for various objects within the application. And it was cool because the reason I'm bringing this up is because I used something I haven't used in the past, and now I'm kind of like, this is pretty slick. Why don't I use it all the time? It's called so it's the Laravel framework, and my piece is just an API backend, so I'm not messing around with front end stuff or anything like that. But I implemented the Laravel observer, and it was always one of the things I kind of blew over because I'm like, okay, I'm not really sure where you would use this at, but it worked out fantastically. So this is the application, back to John's point, that I've been working on that has event sourcing. And as part of that whole workflow, because a lot of the data needs to be available immediately to another piece of the application, I project a certain event. Let's just call it event. I will project an event to a database table. And that's actually what my API presents to the front end and anybody else that happens to be using it is what's been projected to the database table. So for the longitude and latitude, obviously there's an address that's being added at some point. And I was thinking, I'm like, well, where am I going to put this at? Like, where am I going to do a lookup for the longitude and latitude? And I kind of remembered somebody talking about the observer, which is essentially ties to a model, and you tell it, hey, whenever you do this to a model, so let's say it's tied to the event sourcing model, whenever you do a create, update, delete, whatever function it is you want, run something else, do something else. And it just keeps your code clean. So you don't have to remember, oh, I need to look up longitude and latitude here. I need to look up longitude and latitude when I create a file, or I need to look up longitude and latitude when the file is updated. So instead of trying to remember to put all this stuff in all these various spots, I just do it in the observer. I'm like, hey, when this is created, look up longitude, latitude, get the information, and file it away. And when it's updated, do the same thing. And it worked fantastically. Very happy with it.
So this is happening on the projection piece when you project it?
Yeah. That's what it's tied. It's tied to that piece. Yeah.
Is it worth, and are you possibly already doing this, taking that and emitting another event to update your aggregate so it knows what it needs in the future?
So here's the thing. I thought about that, and I didn't have a real use case for it because the aggregate has the address in it, and that's what the aggregate is like tracking. And it's really mainly important because we need to know when somebody changes that, or if somebody changes that, who changed it, when they changed it, why they changed it. The longitude and latitude is just something we're using on the front end for mapping. So it's not anything that they're inputting directly. They're just putting in an address. We're doing the conversion. So I'm like, there's no reason for it to be in the event stream. We have the address of the event stream. So I will project the address out. And when I project the address out, it will look up a longitude and latitude for that address just so the front end could have it.
Yeah. In my mind, the observer's cool. It's a great use case for it. I would probably update the event stream when I am adding or updating the address within the aggregate itself, just so that I have the data there as part of that piece. So if
you would put the longitude and latitude back into the event stream.
So I walk that back where I said that, where to have the observer do that, I would probably change my event sourcing piece where, because you have an event to add or update an address, or at some point you're putting that information into the aggregate. At that point, I would probably do that lookup. Let me go get this, because in my mind, I want that. Not that you need it, you may not at all, but I would want that in the aggregate for some other part of the system that might say, hey, go give me this event. Again, we're using event loosely here. I wasn't talking to you. I don't know if you can hear. Hey, Google, stop. I would probably put that in the event stream just so that it is part of the aggregate moving forward.
But what if it was a motorhome?
I don't see the benefit of that, though, because if we have the address, I don't see the benefit of just having this longitude latitude, because again, nobody uses it except for the front end when it's drawing the maps.
So I think that goes back to that notion of nobody's using it. You're talking about within the aggregate, right? Is that what you mean? Nobody's using it?
Right.
So to me, that's the downside. That's the downside of thinking that way when it comes to event sourcing. The whole point is, let's have the data there, even though nothing in our current workflow uses that. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. So while it's part of your read model, which is great, you don't know what's going to happen, in a year with your aggregate and how it's going to grow and be used. So to have that data available at that moment within there might be useful.
Yeah, I don't know if I see that or not. I'm not totally discounting it, but not positive I see it.
I had a fight for that with a task I'm currently working on, where there's this form that's collecting just this massive amount of data. It's like 6 pages of data on a form. And a lot of that data is replacing a form that we currently have that the system itself needs. As of right now, nothing else in our system cares about the rest of the data on that form. Let's say there's 5 pages of data on there that our system doesn't care about, but the people that process the data care about. So as of right now, somebody goes through the 6 pages, fills everything out, the information gets emailed off to the people that process it. We also want to take the data that we currently care about and get it into our current projection, or not even projections, but our current read models. I had to fight and say, no, we want all of that data. Everything that's there, whether we project it out right now or not, it should be part of the event stream, because we don't know what we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen in the future.
I guess that's my point, and we don't have to keep harping on this. We can move on. But what my final kind of statement on this, and Frank in Discord, who is a PHP architect developer, we do appreciate you. I'm not completely sure I understand your statement either. Once you add the longitude and latitude in the stream, you don't have to do the API hit for it again. That I'm not sure I follow. That's not true.
I think the point he's making is that if you have to rebuild your projections, you don't have to you're not going to hit the API again for the longitude and latitude. If it's in the stream, then you can always fetch it from the stream when you rebuild projections.
Yeah. None of that's to say you did anything wrong. Like the way you did it is perfectly fine.
Sounds like you're saying that.
Case.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
I'm just saying how
really
I would have
backpedaling
done
now.
it. I'm just saying how I would have done it, just a little bit differently in an event-sourced world.
I did some pair programming with my friend Matt, who helped me get my head around customized service providers. That was another thing that I always felt like I wanted to do. Like I felt like it was a good use case. And again, this it happens to be this longitude latitude was the use case for it, where that lookup is actually now a custom service provider with a service that we can add, swap out, whatever we want to do to how we're looking at the longitude and latitude. So currently today we're using Google's geocoding. So I have a generic geocode service, and then I have a Google geocode service, and I can add other services that do longitude, latitude lookups if I want. And it's the custom service provider where I can add some logic that says, hey, if the environmental variable is set to Google, use the Google service. If it's set to this, or if the client uses this service, whatever we want to do. But now I can have the multiple services that go to my generic geocode service, and it felt really good because I ripped out so much code, and my initial approach to it was a repository pattern, because that's what I do. I put everything into a repository pattern, and just doing it, I'm like, oh man, like this is an external service that I don't manage. I don't really want to build a repository for it. It just doesn't seem right. I want to build a service for it, and I started working on that, and then I'm like, okay, how am I going to get the customized configurations into it? Do I just hard code the config and what it is, and that's where I had reached out to Matt. I'm like, hey man, I know you've done this in the past. What is the best approach? And he probably spent an hour and a half with me, refactored all this code. And it was just like one of those moments where I understood the concept now, where I thought I had understood it before, but I had never implemented it. And then when I went to try to implement it, I struggled. I'm like, that it just wasn't working the way I thought it should be working. So he kind of walked me back a little bit, explained to me, what I was doing wrong, what I was doing right, and helped me refactor everything. And it was just one of those things that I understood it cleaned up the code nicely, and it made the code much more flexible moving forward. It was just like, yeah, baby, I'm liking this.
You keep saying Matt. Is this friend of the show, Matt Lance?
Matt Lance, and contributor to the PHP Architect magazine. He does PHP. What do you call it?
Artisan Way. Artisan
Way. Yeah. So he writes about Laravel every month, and I do appreciate it. He's a longtime friend of mine. I'm hoping he's probably not going to make it to tech. He's looking to have his second kid, so it's he was very inconsiderate when he decided to knock up his wife and just did it where she would be giving birth during tech. So whatever.
I was gonna say that's a pretty narrow window to work within. He could have had some restraint,
right? I mean, it's almost like he tried to do it.
Yeah.
Bastard.
All right.
You know who else is an excellent service provider?
Who was that?
Honey Badger. I don't have the script though, so.
Well, what the hell? Why did you jump into it?
I was giving you the chance to take the segue your direction.
No, that's not how that works. All right. If you've listened to the show for any amount of time, you know that Honey Badger has been with us for quite a while. Not only have they been with us for quite a while, but we, and when I say we, I'm talking about John and I, and PHP Architect, have been with Honey Badger even longer. So if you're not aware of what Honey Badger is, it's basically a service. And I'm not even going off the script because the script's over here, and I can read the script if you want. It's just I don't do reads very well. But here, I'll read it to you, and then we can talk about it a little bit more. But it says, do you currently use one service for uptime monitoring, another for error tracking, and another for status pages, and yet another to monitor your cron jobs and microservices? Paying for all that might be paying for all those services separately may be costing you more than you think. If you want to simplify your stack and lower your bill, it's time to check out Honey Badger. Honey Badger combines all those services into one easy-to-use platform. It's everything you need to keep production healthy and your customers happy. Best of all, Honey Badger is free for small teams, not free for us. We've been paying for it. And setup takes as little as 5 minutes. Get started today at honeybadger.io. That's www.honeybadger.io. And that is not a short sell.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you say we've been paying for, like, there's malice in that, and it's like, no, it's been a great service, and there's a reason we pay for it.
And that whole 5-minute setup, that's not an exaggeration. It is wickedly simple to set up, and to see the monitoring right off the bat is very nice. So I do actually stand very much behind Honey Badger, and I would appreciate there's no affiliate code I can give you. There's no way they will know that you came from my show, so they don't need to know you listen to the show. But I would strongly recommend you give them a look because it's very well worth it.
Yeah, I am a little jealous of you guys being able to use it as much as you do, because I don't get to use it in my day-to-day life. And
honestly, we should probably be using it more, and that might happen. We'll see. John, do we have a read for PHP Storm?
We do not yet, and you don't go from one ad right into the other. So
I do. I absolutely do. Especially when we're 40 minutes into the show.
We need to update this, but there you go. Scan that QR code. Go to Honey Badger.
We're making some progress. This weekend's going to be a big weekend for tech, for John and I in tech. We get the equipment moving, right? Is that this weekend?
No, it's a week from this weekend.
A week from this weekend, right?
It's a week away.
Weekend. We're going to get the equipment closer to the conference. We're taking meetings with sponsors, and getting their stuff to the conference, and all sorts of fun things are happening. We're excited and terrified and excited, and shitting our pants a little bit.
And terrified. Whoops, wrong
one. Yeah. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. I can't even imagine the stress.
Are you going to be there, Tom? I haven't seen your ticket come across.
It has not come. It has not come through yet. I'm working on it. I've got a in-person meeting the week before in San Jose. So,
are you waiting till then to decide if you're kind of come hang out with us?
No.
All right.
No, I'm trying to work out things. My wife wants to come to tech as well, and tour the city while I educate myself and spend some time with her sister.
Recommend get your flight and your hotel room now, because we're actually selling out of hotel rooms. Like, they are
quickly
fully.
Yeah.
I would recommend taking care of that ASAP.
Even if
the rest of your team's not going to. Yeah, if the rest of your team's not going to be there, that sucks. I would love to have them, but get your travel and your hotel booked.
Yeah, for sure. All right, should we move on to some news? Are you guys interested in hearing something kind of cool, kind of weird, kind of kooky?
Would love weird and kooky.
We're not big Twitter people anymore. I enjoyed Twitter very much back in the day, and I still
2008 to 2012 was the golden years.
I still feel like I have my stream pretty well, dialed in. But like so many people are leaving Twitter. Like the people that interest me are moving on to Mastodon, and I don't know where else they're going. And honestly, I had problems with my stream, and I'm not pointing fingers. I'm not saying it's because of this or because of that. I don't care. But I honestly had problems with my stream where, like, I was getting an ad. Every third tweet was an ad, and I was getting tweets from people I wasn't following. I'm like, who the hell? Why do I care about this? So I was getting a lot of noise. That seems to have cleared up a little bit, but that's not what we're here to talk about. What's really interesting is that it appears, let me put this up on the screen for us to gawk at. It appears the Twitter source code had been leaked online, and it wasn't even leaked recently. Like it's been online for like a year or something like that. Like it was, and not the whole source code. I'm sorry, only portions of it, right? So it's not the whole like Twitter platform, but portions that shouldn't have been public were public, and so that's out there now. You guys see that? Interesting.
I can. I moved the card over so that people can see it. Did they any news on how it got leaked or where it was at?
I don't remember reading it, but here right there. It says the account was created on January 3rd and does not appear to have posted any other material besides the Twitter code. So sounds like somebody just did Twitter dirty, man. Just went on and said, I'm just putting this out there. Just create a repo. I'll just accidentally mark it as public, and we'll see who notices.
Yeah, I mean, Elon's been promising to open source a bunch of the Twitter code already.
Oh, has he?
Yeah, he keeps saying, for transparency's sake and et cetera, but I mean, he's also
that is not the link
changes.
you had in the show notes.
It is not. Yeah. Oh, let me update that. Yeah, I had another one in the show notes and then I switched it because that one had a paywall. I apologize to the people in Discord.
I apologize because I'm the one that moved it over.
Yeah. Yeah, there's the one that I had up on the screen. It's a CNN report. That will be coming in a second. I hate those paywalls, man. I hate them with a passion.
Yeah, I don't know.
As you're building one.
What?
I don't know if you guys have followed Twitter is going great lately, but boy, it's just a mess.
Is that a Twitter handle or is that a site?
It is a site. twitterisgoinggreat.com.
All right, gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, and it just sort of has all the latest news about the tragedy that is Twitter since having been acquired. The most recent thing, being that the For You section of Twitter's page will now only be populated with people who are blue check marks.
Oh, I heard, but that's not real, right?
Yeah,
is that real?
It's people you follow and blue check marks.
Really? So that's actually happening.
That's the thing that's happening. There's also a secret list of people who are boosted on Twitter. So if you have one of these VIP accounts, then your stuff shows up frequently. I personally, my phone keeps sending me Elon Musk tweets. That I'm not subscribed to him. I don't read his stuff. It just keeps sending them to me. It's not all of his tweets, and it's not anything that's like an official announcement. It just seems like it's a random assortment of what he thought was especially funny meme.
Like there's always an Elon Musk tweet in my stream on the page. Like every time I load the page, there's an Elon Musk tweet in there, and I'm the same way. I don't follow him. I don't care about that guy. But yeah, he's always on my stream somewhere. It drives me crazy. And the mobile app is even worse So you said your mobile app. I almost don't even go to Twitter on my mobile app anymore because I can't stand it. It drives me up the wall.
Right.
It's just add, weird tweet, somebody else's tweet, and just got to search for people.
It sounds like you should read an article in the upcoming PHP Architect magazine all around Mastodon.
Hopefully.
Well, there's also new features. So if you
contributor, get it to us.
If you want that visibility boost of being a blue checkmark user, but don't want the stigma of being known as a blue checkmark user, you can actually now, or you will soon, be able to pay for it and then hide it from other viewers. So you will get a blue checkmark. You will get a blue checkmark and then hide it.
Well, that's a flip of the script, huh? Everybody wanted the blue checkmark for so bad for so many years. Now it's like,
they wanted it when you couldn't pay for it.
It's turning into a types of kryptonite story, where there's kryptonite is the big thing that hurts Superman, but there's like black kryptonite and pink kryptonite, and that's where we're getting with this, because now there's gold check marks, gray check marks, blue check marks, and then hideable check marks. And then there's a secret VIP list that has nothing to do with check marks. And in all of this work that he has done, Twitter has lost half of the value it had since he paid for it.
I saw that.
So if you're looking for a genius investor...
Did you realize that another weakness of Superman's is magic? So you can literally take him down with a card trick? Just that simple.
What?
Magic. Superman has a weakness for magic. Not a weakness for, a weakness to magic. So like in the superhero world, like Doctor Strange could kick Superman's ass because he's magical.
Today I learned.
There you go. So if you ever come up against Superman, just do the old finger trick on him. Just, hey, look, Superman, look. He just keels over. He can't handle it.
Yeah, that's why Zatanna is so powerful. It's not the cleavage.
So the next thing I want to talk about isn't timely anymore. And what's frustrating me is I saw this happen last week, minutes before the show, because I was working on the magazine. And then I go to push to GitHub and I had errors. I had errors galore. And I'm like, what the heck's going on? I had to remove. I'm used to that with some of my servers, right? I SSH to a machine, but the SSH key changes because the machine reboots every day. So I'm used to, hey, the SSH key has changed. Remove it from your config file or your authorized host, and then try again, and you're good to go. GitHub had to rotate their keys last Thursday, and not a big deal. Somebody accidentally committed their key to a repo, I think. So then they had to rotate keys.
I mean, you say not a big deal, but when you have couple million people using your service, and you've got to tell them, oh, hey.
I should have read the story. I think they caught it quickly. Like, somebody made that mistake. They saw it and fixed it like really quick. It wasn't like, oh, it's been like this for a week and there's potential issues. But I don't know.
I honestly am a little surprised. So we talked last week about how their GitHub specifically is forcing is a harsh word. They're making 2FA not optional anymore. You have to have it.
That's great.
But one of the first open source projects I tried to create, and I did okay, but I kind of ultimately failed at it, was a service, or not a service, an application that you could run on your machine that would rotate your SSH keys and update them, update your public key on any servers that you had, and then kind of the same thing for the servers where it would like rotate its keys, and I was just I'm a fan. Now I say I'm a fan of rotating keys, and I've been rocking the same SSH key since like 2005, but
We
I used to have SSH keys for like every server. I don't know why I thought that was a good idea, but I'm like, okay, if somebody gets this SSH key, if they get this private SSH key, they can't get to any more of my servers. Now, the problem with that, of course, I can't jump from server to server, so I couldn't do my SSH agent forwarding. So every time I had, I might have been on one server and I need to get to another server. I'm like, okay, now I got to go back. So it was frustrating, and I abandoned it pretty quickly. But yeah, I don't think rotating SSH keys is a terrible idea.
It's not, and we had talked a long time ago because you can get to anyone's public key on GitHub easily. You just go to github.com/username.keys, and you have their public keys. So you can easily make that basically your repo for your public keys. Add your public key to GitHub, have your servers pull that down and say, okay, these are the public keys that are allowed to get to me, you're allowed to access me. As long as you have the private key locally, you're good to go. So you can rotate easily that way.
That's actually my build script for user accounts. So my users, like John and other PHP architect administrators, they all have sudo, but I don't enable password logins. You can only log in through a key. So whenever I create the account, I go to their GitHub repo and I download all their public accounts. I set their password because they need a password for sudo, and I just tell them, hey, here's your password, change it. Or don't change it. I don't care. Nobody can log into the machine with it, but if you want to make sure you're sudo safe, change your password. So the first time they hit it, they technically log in because it has their public key, but then I force them to change their password the first time they log in. So it's this weird kind of cycle, but I love it. I love that because you don't have to ask people for their public keys. Like, put it on GitHub. My little script grabs it, and yeah, I like your idea. We've talked about it in the past, rotating your keys and just having your public key on GitHub and just having a little script that goes and updates it. Yeah,
a little cron script or something that constantly checks.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of the things I'll be running on my home server is Teleport, which is a special self-managed credential, authorization thing for all of your other servers you've got. Uses a TSH command.
Teleport?
I think we talked about it a week or two ago. We were talking about Tailscale, and he said there's an open source version of it called Teleport.
It's very similar.
That in the show notes.
Although Tailscale is pretty cool. I wish they would sponsor something.
Yeah.
we talk about them.
Wish they would just acknowledge my emails. That would be awesome.
Well, the reason that this security stuff sort of keeps coming up, and it's
hold on before you move on, Tom. Is this the Teleport you're talking about?
Yes.
Go teleport.com.
Yes.
There is a pricing section there.
Yeah, they have a managed versus self-hosted version.
Yeah. We ran into that this week with Melee Search. We're looking to implement some search functionality with an actual search kind of back end, and I mentioned Melee Search to the team, and they at the time hadn't realized it was an open source project that they could just self-host. So they were looking at the pricing compared to Algola and a couple other things out there. It's like, no, I use it for PHP Roundtable. I just deploy a Docker file, and Laravel makes it so daggone simple to use. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, for a while, Algolia was the default search for Laravel, but
I remember those days.
Yeah, Melee Search is the default now.
Yeah. I like melee. I mean, it's super. It doesn't have all the bells and whistles for sure, but it gets the searching done, and it handles like misspellings and things like that. So
And,
that's really all I care about.
and for people listening that you think about this, like Teleport has a priced thing, but you can also host it for free, and you start wondering, how do they make money? We have a friend in the community that runs an open source project and has a hosting thing, and they're very happy with what's that?
And a Lamborghini.
No. I mean, yes, that person too, but they're running a very successful business and are happy with the business they're running to the point that they're able to hire people and have people working for them. Yet all the code is still open source, still free. And some people are like, that it's not possible, but they're making over $1 million a year. It works.
It's good.
You know, we can make $1 million a year, John, if we just
Got one Patreon to sponsor us at $1 million a year.
Well, that too. Yeah.
You
may notice
better
that
to have 1 million Patreons
sponsoring us at $1.
Yeah.
I mean, it feels like it should be achievable. It really does.
It feels like it. They're going to have to really invent some scrolling support for this page right here.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Or smaller fonts at very least. Now, you might notice that I have this marked as April, and we have a little April showers. And you might be saying to yourself, but Eric, it's March. Yes, but up until last week, it was marked as February, and I'm not going to mark it as March for one stinking week for you bozos. So, yeah.
Plus, it's been raining in Southern California for 3 weeks now. So.
Oh my God, it just doesn't stop. It just keeps raining.
I mean, complain all you want, but I've seen pictures of the reservoirs full for the first time in 25 years.
California doesn't have reservoirs. They don't know what to do with excess rain. What are you talking about?
Well, Lake Hodges is a reservoir.
I know, but
I live right next to it.
The rain has been so bad. I've had 2 practices from my baseball team to the point where they had to call an emergency managers meeting to say, "Hey, you guys need to figure out how to manage your team better."
Well, just bigger umbrellas, right?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. I want to back up a little bit. Did you get yelled at tonight? I feel like that was like you got yelled at. Like you were a better dog, John.
I did not. It turns out one of the managers, supposedly, who wasn't able to make it, there were a couple that couldn't make it tonight, and they wouldn't name names or tell us what happened, was violating.
Maybe they had a podcast.
Maybe. And they were able to make it on time, is what you're trying to say?
Maybe.
They were violating minimum play. So you have to let the kids play, some sort of equal amount of time. And I guess it was violated bad enough to the point where they are not going to be allowed to play, or the manager can't be there for a game this weekend or something.
What?
So like a kid was just benched for like several straight games?
They didn't tell us how it was violated, but it's supposed to be your first violation is a written warning. Your second violation is I don't know if they said ejection, but you're not allowed to be there.
Aren't these kids like 9 years old, 8, 9 years old?
9 and 10 years old, yeah. But the whole point is you got to let the kids play.
I can picture the coach in my head.
No,
he looks
totally
just
agree.
like Eric with much shorter shorts.
I totally agree with you, John. Like at 9 or 10 years old, it shouldn't matter. Give everybody playtime, right? Let them get on the field and do so. The fact that you have coaches trying to manipulate the system and trying to get away with the shit with 9 and 10-year-olds, it's like what are you doing with your life, dude?
Honestly, is why I dropped out when I was 12.
But I gotta admit, I got caught up talking to the other coaches where I'm like, I gotta put the good pitchers in the pitching. I gotta put the good catchers in catching, and everybody else I'm gonna either have in the outfield or third base or shortstop and rotate them. Like I'll get the minimum play, but it's the minimum play. And after talking to somebody a couple days ago, I'm like, like you said, they're 9 and 10. Who cares? Let them pitch it, even if they can't reach the plate. Let them pitch a little bit. Let them play. And I'm like, I feel bad now for the past 3 or 4 games I've had where I'm like trying to compete, and it's not a competitive league at this point.
I could just imagine John at this meeting slapping coffee out of people's hands. Coffee's for closers.
What are you talking about? It was
I've seen better swings on a gate.
One of the managers said that their ex-wife is a little overzealous, and they've tried talking to the ex-wife and saying you need to back off, but it's the ex-wife and you can't tell them to leave.
Right.
And I guess they were getting up in the like yelling at the umpires, and the umpires are often 14, 15-year-old kids.
Oh, so easy targets.
Now, as
It's crazy.
Somebody who grew up in sports, and specifically baseball for sure. I played every level of baseball. I've seen them all. And my friend who I played many years with, his mom was one of those people where like I'm standing at the plate and she shows up and the umpire, like we're like little kids, the umpire's like, shit, she's here.
Oh, fuck, it's your mom again.
Yeah, she's gonna kick your ass. So yeah, I mean, good and bad. I mean, some of it's been funny. Some of it was like, just like sad. It's like we had one that they yelled. It was the mom and dad, but they were always yelling at their kid. So it's not like they yelled at the umpire and just would make the kid start bawling. They just like beat him down. I'm like, what are you doing? Shut up. To the point that, like my dad would go over and say, hey, you guys got to move. You can't sit here anymore. Yep, it can be an ugly little thing.
Yeah, I feel like I need to pay more attention to that stuff because one of my assistant coaches, I've let his kid pitch a couple times, and he's over there. He's trying to be supportive and just throw it over the plate, just play catch, but when it's your kid, they don't listen to you.
Mm-hmm.
So I've tried telling him, like, you might want to back down on it, but I'm not a very direct person. So I said something to him, but not clearly. So his wife talked to me just this past game, and I was like, yeah, I tried talking to him. She's like, I'll say something.
Wise, man. I learned wise are the secret. Get in good with the wise. They take care of everything.
I'm not a competitive person. I did
really. You look like a natural athlete.
Well, no, I mean competitive in any way, like video game competitions. No, not even that. It's not happening.
I've seen you play Rocket League. What are you talking about?
Well, okay, a little bit.
Are you the person that sits in that chair in the hotel room?
No. No, I just when I got my first baseball uniform, they said, what's that? What's this thing for? And they said, oh, that's your stirrups for your feet. I said,
stirrups?
Why would I need that? These are the dumbest socks I've ever seen. I said, no, they go over your socks. Oh, come on. Seriously?
You know why stirrups were invented? There's a story behind that.
Because you couldn't get elastic. There was no such thing. So you had to have some way of holding the pants
down.
You're
wrong. Please let me explain because you're wrong.
All right.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Stirrups were invented because the colors, the dyes that they were using for the original socks, if they would infect the ball player, like if they got a sore on their foot or something, it would infect it. And so, it like took one person, some popular ball player, it took him out for like 2 months. So they're like, okay, just wear white socks, and then we'll make these little colored socks that go over top of it. And that's how stirrups were invented.
So you're saying that the Red Sox was originally a disease? Gotcha. No, I gotcha. A little favoritism, but sure. No, and then, I mean, I know how the cup was invented, but when they handed me that and said, here, you got to put this in your underwear, I was like, I don't think this game's for me. This doesn't seem right at all.
Dude, I love the cup. Man, I was so happy when it was introduced to me. I'm like, oh, I feel safe.
I felt particularly unsafe. Like, what about my face though? Like the face part.
8 and 9-year-olds just get out there and like
Oh,
moving
yeah,
their
it's just-
jungle, like guys, chill, calm down. It's okay.
You've always got the two kids that are just in the outfield wailing on each other's balls, just kicking and punching
I
each
don't
other.
know
Alright,
what league you played in, Tom. But
This
Southern
show took a
California.
very odd turn. We went from PHP to Little League.
leave it to Tom
Well,
to make it weird.
What I was going to say was one of the things that has me ultra paranoid about security is this week's big news with Linus Tech Tips. So,
Was that real? I thought it was clickbait on his
Nope.
video. I
No,
didn't watch it.
no, so Linus Tech Tips.
You got
YouTube
an
channel-
eyeful if you watched. There was a lot to watch.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Linus Tech Tips channel went down for a couple days because they got hacked. And it's like, shit, if he can get hacked, like it can happen to anybody. But-
Really? That was the one that put you over the edge? Linus Tech Tips?
Well, yeah, he's very security minded, but someone within the organization received what they thought was a PDF, opened it, and then it just took over the YouTube whole chain, changed every password, changed all the content, deleted all the videos, and uploaded a Tesla scam that was a video of
Hey,
Elon Musk promoting crypto.
Yeah.
And it was rough. I mean, he does a breakdown of it in the video you can see in this article here. He talks about it extensively on the podcast that he does. But
the video, John, let me see if I can find it. Is the video?
Yeah.
Is this it? Oh, this is the video
Yeah.
here. The video is like, oh, hush. The video is him running around his house naked, trying to figure out what's going on with his YouTube channel.
Really?
It was like, wow, that's more of you than I wanted to see.
well, so he was talking about that with his CTO, and apparently they both did the exact same thing. They both just jumped out of bed naked, and then sat in front of their computers for 4 hours before they finally had the chance to get dressed. And it's like,
Wow.
I've totally had situations like that where something horrible happens, a site goes down, and you're too busy for hours. It's awful. But
And it's one of those things that never goes down at a convenient time. It's not like, oh yeah, this is a good time for it to go down.
Yeah.
I'm alert. I'm awake. I'm not intoxicated. I'm well fed. Yeah, no, that's not how it works.
yeah, so he ended up pulling a 48-hour day, just trying to get this thing figured out and fixed back up. And he's very lucky that he has contacts within YouTube and within Google to get it fixed. But apparently, this is multiple times a day some channel gets hacked and this gets done to it. It's
Wow.
yeah, it's real bizarre.
I mean, it's one of those things. Like I feel like it's that whole, if somebody wants to steal your car, they're going to steal your car, and it's like that. It's like if somebody wants to jack your site, they're going to jack your site. Like there's as much security as you put in place, you're just like getting like the amateurs and the people that don't know like the real hacks and the real secrets.
Yeah.
But there's like a whole culture of people out there that have access to everything, and they just they pick and choose when they attack, and that's why we try to stay so irrelevant in the community. Like we're not important. That's all by plan. So,
Speaking of irreverent, you kind of glossed over your tweet or your toot earlier this week, which was
what?
absolutely
I don't know what you're
hilarious.
talking about.
I don't think I saved it. I should have. I meant to if I didn't.
Well, while you're
But-
looking that up, one thing that baffles me is the people who fall for these crypto scams. And I sort of like, well, okay, LTT's channel got hacked, but who's going to send their Bitcoin to this random address thinking they're getting it doubled back to them? Like, who's actually going to fall for it? And then, like, a day after this happened, some school administrator got caught sending $100,000 of the Treasury's money in Bitcoin to a scammer.
What?
And it's like,
What?
how is this possible still? I'm so disillusioned with crypto. I think it has its place, and like definitely international money transfers. It's a big deal.
I think it could be a way bigger deal. It just became just a hot mess.
Right. It was the tech bubble 3. You know, it was pets.com again.
Yeah. So earlier this week, Eric kind of sent out a message. I feel like I am starting to understand why my team doesn't like working with me. And then he shared a screenshot of internal communications, which are supposed to be private communications, but he leaked it himself for some odd reason. And he said, I love how you changed it to nice guy. Like you changed out their handles. Is there any reason your naming convention of client _ capital I, capital D has an uppercase ID where everything else is lowercase? Also, you can go to hell for doing that. Their response, oh yeah, it's just because that's the blank naming convention. I can change that to lowercase if you like. And then Eric's response, I want to say it's fine, because then I will always think of you when I see it, but then I remembered I don't like thinking of you now. So yeah, why don't you change it?
I regret nothing.
The funny part is the people that, I mean, the people that know you, but they don't know you, and they're like, seriously, what the fuck did I just write?
What is wrong with you? I know my team had to come to my aid. Like, no, it's fine. He's an asshole. Don't worry about it. We're used to it.
Yeah, not he isn't an asshole. It's just he is an asshole. We know it's okay.
John keeps saying he's gonna call HR, but he never does because he's an asshole too.
I actually like your response. It's like, why are the variable names so long? Just use it like a queue.
It's in our documentation.
Exactly.
You guys aren't using like PHP Stan or something like that?
Yeah. Yeah, I use PHP Stan.
Enforce all those rules in there.
I enjoy PHP Stan.
There's a new Stan out there. Blade Stan got released this week.
That actually reminds me. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, Tom. I want to say this before I lose it.
No, it's okay. That's just Eric.
I need your help with some testing, John. So we talked about the longitude latitude service for looking up addresses. That's the other thing my wonderful team brought to my attention. I think it was Frank that brought it to my attention, actually. Frank or Kalen, one of those two. It's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Frank. Said, hey, you are mocking those services, right? Like, every time you run the test, you're not calling the services. I'm like, yeah, of course. I mean, mock that. I should probably do that.
I was going to mention that when you said that you were doing custom services. I was like, one of the nice things about that is you can mock it for your tests, so it's the same, same behavior.
Yeah, totally forgot about it. Totally forgot about mocking altogether. I'm like, oh yeah, I should probably. I think I understand. I think I know how to do it. I just haven't. Because I had a crappy day today. I mean, I had a good day. We got to talk to one of the sponsors for PHP Tech, but man,
way longer than I anticipated. But it was really a good conversation.
Yeah. So I ended up down in San Diego this morning because I took my kid to the airport, who was flying back north again, and the way we do this is we drop the kid off at the airport, and because we live so far away now, we hang out there until the airplane actually takes off, because you never know if something goes sideways and they don't make the plane gets canceled. I want to be local. So I had hung out there until that happened. Then we jumped on this call with a client. And like John said, that call runs a little longer. And I'm really wanting to get home. Like I really want to get home before noon, because traffic starts to build up pretty quickly in Southern California. So I was looking to get out of here. So I go to leave, and I got a flat. Well, I don't have a flat tire. I have a low tire. I'm like, what the hell? So I go and I stop at the gas station, it's just like I'm putting the air in, and I can see it right there in the middle of the tire. This big ass nail. I'm like, God damn it! So it's like it's not really holding the air. And again, long drive home. So I'm like, God, I'm gonna have to get this fixed before I go home.
You're lucky
So
you
I
can get
ended
it
up not
fixed
even
if it's.
getting home till like 5:00, huh?
You're lucky you can get it fixed. The middle of the tires where you can get it fixed. I keep getting them in the sidewalls.
Yeah, you can't fix the sidewall. Yeah. So yeah, today just turned into a suck day all around. I just couldn't get back to the house, and I got stuck in traffic all the way home, and yeah, it sucked. But I enjoyed talking to the sponsor.
There was a Reddit thread though, where all of these tire repair techs basically admitted that if it happens to their tire, they'll fix it. Like you can fix it. It's just not as good a fix.
It's the same. It's the same thing. I mean, the process. It's still the rubber tire.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. So that's something I learned today. I've had this car. So we got this car after we moved into the new house, and we specifically got a hybrid to kind of help with the gas costs because we knew we were going to be driving a lot. And so, but I haven't like had the tires worked on or anything like that. So I go to the tire shop here down in San Diego, and they're like, "Okay, I need the lock. The lock." I'm like, "I gave you the key fob." He goes, "No, for your tire." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And they had it had a lock lug on it.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh shit, I don't know where that is." So I'm like, yeah, let's check the trunk. Unfortunately, the vehicle I have is a very well thought out vehicle. So like everything has a spot. So it's like it's not like they just took this little lock lug and threw it in the trunk. In the trunk, like under the little panel, there's a little holder for it. So it like has a place back there, and it's just like you open it up, like, oh, that's got to be it, right? So
I bought my car used. We took it in for tires, and they said, "Hey, where's the locking lug?" And I went, "The what?" It was we didn't have it, and so we ended up having them weld a bar onto the lug nut and just break it off.
What?
That's the
They
solution.
really don't have any other workaround for that?
It's a Canadian model Infinity, so they just like didn't have the key.
That's crazy.
So I was like, okay, whatever. I don't care.
All right.
I have a question, Eric.
Go ahead.
That hat looks like brand new. The one with the I'm a PHP architect.
It's not
Same
brand new
hat
because it has the old logo.
For years. Oh, you're right. Look at that.
Oh, it's the old logo.
Oh, I need to fix that. I think I have a sticker. I'm just gonna put a sticker on it. It'll be fine. I'll just throw a sticker up there.
There you go.
Yeah. No, this is the same hat I've been wearing.
We're running long. I'm
You're
gonna
running
close.
long.
I'm gonna close out on the last bit of PHP, and then we'll shut it down. All right, deal.
All right,
sold. I'm hoping that this can be made open source. I wanted to map user IDs that are in a legacy system to a UUID. So I brought up with the team, hey, this is what I want to do. I'm going to create a table because there are millions of records and the table is huge. So I'm just going to have this user to UUID map table. But before I do this, I want your input. And somebody came back and said, I've already been working on this. They actually have code that maps an ID to a UUID in a deterministic fashion. And they gave me the PR tonight. I haven't fully looked at it, but to me, that's like what? You can take an int. We're actually using 2 or 3 different pieces of information to make a UUID, and then you could take that UUID and then almost decrypt it into those 3 pieces of information. So it's deterministic both ways. I'm hoping that it's clean enough that it can be open source. Because to me, I think that's really neat.
That invites the criticism of the cryptography crowd, though, and they will just roast you.
So it's not. So let me be clear. It's not meant to be cryptographically secure.
Sure, but still, it's these sort of one-way or two-way encodings that are very mathematically sound out in the world right now, like MD5s and SHAs and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think I gotta make a potty run with the puppy, so we need to wrap it up.
We're wrapping up anyway. I thought it was interesting. I'll let you know more next week.
We just did that on our other project too, right? Except we just added a column to the user table and just created UIDs for everybody.
Well, yeah, I would like to do that, but when you're talking about a table that is, if you try to alter it at all, you're taking down the website for hours at a time, and it's not acceptable. That's the problem.
Yeah. Okay, I am calling it. I don't care. John.
No, I called it. I already called it.
This has been episode
I'm calling it.
329 of PHPUgly podcast. I'm Eric.
Do you want to try that again? I'm John.
I'm Tom. Keep
it
ugly.
1, 2, 1, 2. Coming off the top, y'all know how we do. Listen, I'ma drop a freestyle you can cherish. I'ma send a shout out to the host named Eric. Yo, he's never on some average shit. You know Eric, he stays loud and passionate. I'm about to break it down for y'all with the clever song. Yo, shout the host named Thomas, cause he's never wrong. And shout to John, you know that he's smart and quiet. Unlike my freestyles, which cause a riot. I'm about to do it like this, cause the people love me. Shouts out to PHP the Ugly. It's called ugly cause it's not professional, but I'm about to come through and bless it with style. So let's do it when I'm spitting. I perfume the room. Yo, the segment of the show is called Doom and Gloom. That came from Thomas. Yeah, can nobody go beyond this? I get the mic and then I'm about to keep it like a promise. Yeah, and y'all know we fill them up with anguish. We talking about the PHP, the programming language. About to break it down, no exaggeration. What do y'all do for a living? Web applications. Okay, I can dig it. My words spray tight. They getting together on the Thursday nights. Yeah, when it comes to rhyming, you can call me the new dude. I spew true lyrics while y'all broadcast on YouTube. So let's get it. You know my lyrics are major. All up in the comments, they got plenty of haters, but they doing what they doing. Keep it ugly. We ending every show with the saying it's lovely. Let's go. Hey, shout out to y'all. Peace to the whole squad, man. Hope your channel is doing real well on YouTube. Hope you guys are having fun. And it was an honor and blessing to do this little custom freestyle for y'all. Hope you enjoy. Stay up. Yeah. Come on. Hey.
Boom.
See, I wanted to do this article just for the title. That the conference has been canceled.
What?
E3 is officially canceled this year.
What's an E3?
E3 is the Electronics and Entertainment Expo. It's where all the video game companies used to present their next year's big items, all the big news and games and stuff. But all the publishers pulled out this year. Everyone wants to run their own conference.
Ugh.
Well, you've got the title, the thumbnail. That's good.
I'm good with that. We need a title. What's our title? Give us a title. New sponsors. New.
I noticed the new. Is it the logo or the waiting screen or the coming soon screen? With our faces instead of the one your buddy did of our cartoons.
Oh yeah, the thumbnail of the upcoming show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I noticed that.
Like that.
I thought it was funny. I laughed.
I take certain pleasures into doing things like that. Let's do this. Get a little toaster action there. We got a little toast cam family. There you go, toaster. We got toaster.
I was wondering why all the names said toast for a while.
Did they all say toast?
They did for a little bit when the stream
It's such a
started.
weird little bug. Like
Yeah.
every time I log in, it's John, and I have to change.
It's whoever logged in last. I saw Tom today because I'm assuming he got here before me.
Yeah. I hate the fact that the chat doesn't populate.
Persist.
Yeah. Because I mean, we'll get like a lot of chat going, and I'll try to open it, and it just doesn't.
It's got to be
Doesn't work.
configurable.
I don't know, man. I tried. Oh,
I
thanks.
almost read that same ad spot you read. Like I was getting ready to say it when you did it.
I have an idea. I tried to get. I was trying to get my wife to help me with something last week before everybody. So we have a house full of guests right now, and we had a house full of more guests before I took my kid to the airport this morning.
By the way, belated happy birthday to both of them.
Oh right, yeah. They've hit the big 2.5, so that means like they can't be on our insurance anymore, and
Ooh.
and ideally, I think we get a discount in our our health insurance. So they're still under our car insurance. I think we get a discount now for that. But yeah,
They can rent a vehicle legally now. That's the big one.
is that it? 25?
Yeah. They can run for Senate.
Well, that's an odd thing, but sure. Yeah, let's go for Senate.
I was very interested in politics when I was a kid. And then I turned 25 and I was like, I'm not interested anymore.
See, I don't like this. This just doesn't look good. I don't want people to see like all the other weird discords I'm a part of. I can't crop like in
Don't say
OBS.
BDSM?
I can crop things like this. I don't know how this Rust one got here. I'm not into Rust. I'm not. What Rust? Ooh. Yeah. Let me just turn that off. Did we come up with that title? Give me a title. I had an idea.
I just threw out like 5 titles.
Oh,
Or
did you?
2. 3.
3.
Oh, Benchwarmers. Oh, I like Oh, that would be better. I mean, you do what you want. You make the thumbnails, but having all 3 of us sitting on a bench would be funny.
Put me in, coach. I want to play.
Coach. Oh, we can do ugly indicted, PHPUgly indicted, or
34 counts.
I haven't heard.
You haven't heard about the indictments?
Not until the beginning of the show. I didn't know it happened.
34 counts filed with the New York State. The grand jury accepted it. And so next week he goes in and does the whole mugshot thing, I guess.
Oh, I thought they did that today.
No. Today's the indictments are filed.
Oh, okay. Yep. That's the whole thing. He's like, listen, I'll come in willingly, but we're not doing a perp walk.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the internet beat him to it, so there's lots of AI-generated Trump perp walks.
Yeah, I saw.
Those are
Some of them are pretty funny.
fantastic.
They had the one with the little hands, which was cracking me up.
Yeah, the AI art stuff has taken another leap forward. It figured out hands this last couple weeks, so now.
Oh, that would have been a good topic. The talking
AI
about,
freeze.
Yeah, talking about doing like a self pause in AI development.
Yeah,
A volunteer.
That's not gonna happen.
Oh, really?
that's the thing. Is that like if it were Isaac Asimov, people would listen for a little bit. But like we don't have a figure like that in society right now, so it's
Everybody
just
wants to
Elon
be
Musk.
first to market. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you had Woz. Who all talked about it? Was Woz? Somebody
Musk
else.
and Gates.
Was it Musk and Gates? Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I like Gates. I'm a fan of Gates, despite some of his what I consider poor business decisions. I can't say they're poor business decisions. Made the guy a freaking billionaire. I think he was. I think he did the computing world a disservice.
With every
But-
other version of Windows.
Yeah. But I mean, he's quite the humanitarian now, isn't he?
I guess. I mean,
I agree, Buttery.
They're all rich.
Yeah.
Every one of them. Everyone who's got $1 billion is corrupted by the having of it.
Oh, I would be too. Are you kidding me?
100%.
If I had, I would
wouldn't pretend. I wouldn't be like Elon Musk, where I'm talking about saving humanity by building rockets to Mars, and then ending up just putting a car in a rocket ship.
Yeah.
I wouldn't pretend. That's all there is to it.
That's why we we stay poor, man. Keeps us humble.
Yeah, apparently lying is really profitable.
I think that, I mean, honestly, I think that a lot. Like, because John and I try to be completely honest and completely transparent, completely like above table. And like sometimes I think like if we just got a little dirtier, we could make some money. But it's just not in our
seriously,
DNA.
I really think that that's the case. I think that
Yeah,
I mean,
but
there's-
it's just yucky.
there's a long-standing statement on the anti-capitalist side of Reddit, which is like no one makes $1 billion by doing something that
Good.
benefits society.
Yeah,
Like
I
you
believe
just
that.
can't.
Yeah,
You have to be inclined to lie and boast and brag to make $1 billion and throw people under the
well,
bus.
and you have to be willing to like. Nobody makes that much money without destroying a bunch of other people.
Right.
Like,
The CEO of Starbucks like got all offended that he was being called a billionaire by Bernie Sanders. So that's offensive. I started with nothing, and I made my way to the top. I'm like, yeah, but you have $1 billion. That makes you a billionaire. Like you have enough money to give millions to every employee at Starbucks, but instead you're closing a Starbucks because they tried to unionize. That's villainous behavior.
Yeah, I think my next job, I'm just gonna be evil. That's gonna be my next job.
Yeah.
When we sell PHP Architect for $242 million.
Million.
You went low. You were supposed to say buh.
Nah, I was gonna go there, but I just wanted to be a little bit more realistic. That's why I said 252, not
Well, you said 242, but that's okay.
242. 242. I didn't say 250 or 300.
Honestly,
Just keeping it real.
If I had a name as big as PHP Architect, I would just launch a shadow hosting service, PHP Architect hosting, and just run data centers as cheap as possible, like rented servers.
What are we talking about? I pitched an idea to John today that I think we're going to make happen. It was actually my wife's idea. It was a fantastic idea. I think we need to make that happen, John.
Hats
No.
will be rich. The stock market is booming.
Yeah. John knows me. I'm full of ideas. Just nothing that makes money. Keep thinking the next thing is going to be it. But
Like PHP Architect microbrew.
We got to figure out how to get people to tech. How do we reach the people that aren't going, and what is the reason they're not going? How do we get to those people?
I can't figure
we're at
that
a
out
good
in my
number,
own
though.
company.
yeah. I think
Find somebody for us to talk to.
my whole thing is I just want to make enough money where we can hire a couple more people. Because it's like I feel like we're like at this weird spot where can't take on more work without more developers, but we can't get more developers till we have more work, sort of situation. Whole chicken and egg situation. And I hate that. I hate the process. Like the team we have now, been super happy with. I mean, and most of them have been with us since almost the start. We got one that you could say we poached, but we didn't poach. We didn't poach. They actually quit. And we're like, hey, if you're quitting. But we've been really lucky with our team. I'm real happy. But we were very slow to hire them. I mean, literally, we knew Kalen and Frank for years before we hired them. Actually, we knew all of our developers for years before we hired them. Actually, if you think about it, so I don't know. It's such a process. I want make more money so we can hire more people. That's my whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about
We didn't
that
talk. We didn't talk about having the next SDPHP. Ready to go.
Matter of fact, Frank is presenting, isn't he?
He is.
Frank, what are you talking about? Do we know what Frank's talking about? Is he doing his rules engine?
He is.
Frank
rules
signed
engine.
out for the night.
Did he sign off? No.
Yeah.
He's a busy guy.
Rules engine. I forgot what the title was.
Did you announce it?
I did.
Why am I not getting this email?
Separating business logic from code with a rules engine.
All right. Let me. I'll get. Do I need to make a thumbnail for that?
I want to see that.
Did you notice that? You notice I made a thumbnail for yours, right?
Of course not. The sound was so. The sound was so terrible on mine. We really got to fix that.
I have no idea what happened because it worked fairly well for me. We got to order that equipment too.
What equipment?
The pieces for tech, the new pieces for tech that we were talking about.
Yeah, doing. I'll make that phone call tomorrow. I didn't want to do it online.
Oh yeah, click on yours. Oh yeah, I did create that. That's slick, man. I'm awesome. I'm a graphics designer. All right, I'll need to make one for. I need to make one for Frank. I'll make a little thing for him. Can't believe we're still on Meetup. Like I thought, how they survived the pandemic. Like seriously, I have a love-hate relationship with Meetup.com. Mostly, I love hating them.
Yeah, no kidding. I was gonna say I can't imagine what you would like them for. I remember it was such an essential part of what we did, and it was like,
how am I not? So do you not? You don't make me an organizer? What's up with? I mean, where did our teamwork go here, John? Why are you making me attend? For Pete's
because
sake.
I don't know if you're gonna make it anymore or not. It used to be 100%. Now you're like, I'll make it if I can make it. I don't see the thumbnail. Maybe because I started watching it, so I see it at the very end.
No. Click. Are you in Meetup? What the hell?
Oh,
what is
Meetup.
All these offers. Holy crap! I had to click through 4 or 5 offers. Hey, would you like to sign up for Hulu? Hey, you qualify for the Washington Post. Hey, ho. Now I know how they survived the pandemic.
Oh, look at that. Cool. All right. Let's call it a night.
All right. Are we killing it? Are we killing the
Yeah.
stream?
Thanks everyone for hanging out with us. Appreciate
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
We're an hour and 40 minutes in.
Here, just do this. Doot.